Come on in, sit back and relax. You're listening to the WealthTech Today podcast. I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. And this podcast features interviews, news, and analysis around the best trends and best practices of wealth management technology. My guest for this episode was Christian Mitchell, president of Cetera Solutions. Now, Christian leads strategic growth initiatives focused on enhancing digital products, platforms, and investment solutions to deliver superior advisor and client experiences. He joined Cetera just in January of this year and serves as a member of Cetera's executive leadership team, reporting to CEO Mike Durbin. Prior to joining Cetera, Christian held multiple leadership roles at Northwestern Mutual for nearly 20 years, most recently as Chief Digital and Information Officer. We spoke about Cetera's Intelligent Engine. Now, this is their suite of digital tools that helps advisors engage with clients, perform financial planning, and implement their wealth solutions. It leverages both AI and data analytics to identify growth opportunities and improve advisor productivity. We talked about how Cetera will be measuring success of their intelligent engine and how they are going to be balancing human advisors with AI tools that they are implementing. And speaking of AI, what is your firm's AI strategy? Do you even have one? If not, you're flying blind into a storm of changes coming for our industry. Here at Ezra Group, we help wealth management firms turn their AI chaos into a competitive advantage. Our tech stack and AI strategy solutions are built specifically for advisory businesses, integrating custodial feeds, portfolio management systems, CRM platforms, and AI tools into a single scalable source of truth. If you want to free your firm for exponential growth, you need to run, not walk to our website, EzraGroup.com, and click the golden Contact Us button on the homepage. Whether you're building or evaluating your first AI-powered solution or struggling with a bloated tech stack that's become a liability, the experienced team at Ezra Group will help you design, optimize, and future-proof your infrastructure. We know what works and what doesn't work. All right, now my standard housekeeping chores. Please subscribe to this podcast, yada, yada, yada. Check out our Invest in Others Foundation, which is one of our sponsors, at investinothers.org. And if you are a software vendor providing solutions to the advisory space, please go to our vendor portal, ezra.com/register, and register your product with our WealthTech integration score, so your score on our website will always be up to date. Now, let's kick this thing off.
All right, I'm excited to introduce our next guest. It is Christian Mitchell, president of Cetera Solutions. Christian, glad to be talking to you.
Great to be with you.
I'm glad we could figure this out and schedule it. You are a busy, busy man, Christian. You've got a lot going on. Where are you calling in from?
Sunny San Diego.
Oh, so nice. I'm in not so sunny New Jersey. It's soon to be crappy as we just hit the fourth quarter, which I can't believe.
It was 72 degrees this morning instead of 75, so hard times in San Diego.
It's rough out in San Diego, folks. So you heard it here. Please send your condolences to Christian for being stuck in San Diego. All right, let's just jump in, Christine. I always like to do a 30-second elevator pitch. I'm sure everyone knows Cetera, but just in case someone doesn't, if you can just give us a quick overview.
Yeah, Cetera's the leading wealth hub, 12,000 advisors, about 600 billion in assets. We go to market through a variety of different channels, affiliation styles, etc. So a very varied model, but all that model leverages a central suite of technologies, support services, etc. that lets us grow very rapidly. And we're concentrated on both organic growth as well as inorganic growth as the industry continues to consolidate.
Yeah, you got to do both. You can't just sit on one, right?
Got to do both.
They kind of feed off each other, especially in this day when there's so much money floating around and your competitors are buying up a bit larger and larger companies, and the scale is becoming so important.
That's right. And the prospective investment that we need to make in technology is growing. So scale is going to be increasingly important in the future.
And that is what we're talking about here in the Wealth Tech Today podcast, technology. Let's do a little big picture review. So this interview came out because of some news on your intelligent engine. And I wonder if you can give a little background about that tool, what it is, how it's used for advisor growth, and your perspective from your point of view as president, how you position this.
Intelligence Engine is a suite of digital tools, starting with engaging with the client, planning, financial planning with the client, and then ultimately implementing the various solutions for that client. And what we're trying to achieve here is greater share of wallet. We want to increase the penetration of financial planning and ultimately provide a great client experience.
I see AI as being really driving as wallet share, but also changing the nature of how advisors operate, especially at a firm like Cetero. You have 12,000 advisors, and I'm sure there's a very large range of from the best advisors down to maybe the not so good advisors, and just because everyone is different. And do you see this tool being able to capture things like, do advisor coaching because it's monitoring all the interactions and then being able to raise the bar for how your advisors are operating?
That personalized coaching and intervention with advisors, we're certainly playing around with it. I think that's a little further out on the horizon. How we are applying AI today, there is a lot of front end efficiency. So, using some of the various call summarization distillation tools, that's allowing our advisors to spend more time with clients, better understand their hopes and dreams, et cetera, such that they're really providing that personalized touch. So that's been a big area of the application of AI. The other is in looking at the books of our advisors, identifying areas where there may be wallet share opportunities, directing advisors towards those opportunities to drive organic growth. But as your question alludes to, this is just the beginning. There's so much that's to come, and our effective experimentation and implementation of the tools that we have today really gets that flywheel of learning going, such that we're ready for that next wave of applications.
So wallet share is issue with many of our clients, and understand being able to first identifying that there is some wallet share to gather is the first step. But then how will these tools um, help the advisor to not only identify them, but be able to bring them in? Because if they're not there now, they're probably with another advisor. They could be sitting in cash. They could be anywhere, really.
The first thing that the tools that we have do is expose to advisors that there is opportunity. Sometimes they don't know there's opportunity. So being able to paint that in black and white, looking at advisors' book, compare that book to other advisors, and really create that sense of urgency that there are assets held away that the advisor can go after. That's the first step. The second step is applying these tools so the advisor can very precisely identify where there is opportunity and go after it rather than a broad brush approach. What we find with our advisors that want to grow in general, they're very good at creating new client relationships. That's often very exciting, but they skate over those wallet share opportunities. And so by implementing this suite of tools, we effectively want them to focus on both. Client building continues to be incredibly important, but we want them to serve their existing client base much more deeply.
Indeed. So you've got a bunch of really interesting tools here with the GrowthLine commercial activation engine, but also you include Money Guide and eMoney in the list of tools. So are there some different integrations you're building with Money Guide and eMoney that link into GrowthLine or link into the other AI tools that you didn't have before that are going to provide better planning opportunities?
Absolutely. So, what we are endeavoring to create are what we call paved roads. So, deep integrations between our core set of digital applications to really drive advisor productivity. Now, we know that we need to support a broader constellation of applications as well. There are new wealth tech firms that are being created. Our advisors want to access that functionality from time to time. So, there's good reason to have a broader suite of tools within the Cetera ecosystem, but we really want to focus on these paved roads that help advisors be more efficient and really provide high quality advice, financial planning, deep care to our clients.
I think that's important. I've been beating the drum for more holistic advice for years. And I think finally we may be getting to it just with AI because it's been so difficult, as you mentioned. It's hard to know that there's other assets out there. It's hard to know what the client's got. Sometimes they forget or they don't bring the information to you, or the advisor might forget to ask them. But with AI, since you've got meeting note software, it's going to automatically process every call, every meeting, every email. It should prompt the advisor, hey, you forgot to ask this. You need to check this. You need to look into that. So that's going to gather a lot more information, and all that other data will then feed into your planning, and provide more holistic advice. Do you see that changing the nature of the way advisors are working, since there's still a lot of advisors who think of themselves as money managers?
I do think it will change the way advisors work. I reflect back some of the early years of my career where I had exposure to early financial planners. I recall going into their offices and seeing what they were doing to effectively serve clients, and it was Rube Goldberg spreadsheets. It was incredible. I had such profound respect for them because they were swimming upstream in order to really provide that fabulous experience for clients. We've come a long way since, but I think there's still so much more that we can do to make that holistic financial planning, wealth management approach the easy path, the easy button, all of the various integrations, data flowing, note taking, etc. Where we lean in such that that again becomes the path of least resistance in a sense for advisors and ultimately provides a fabulous outcome for clients.
Are you seeing any pushback from advisors on these tools or this suite of tools? Like, how do you, I mean, you've got 12,000 advisors. There's going to be some segment that don't want this. How do you make sure that the adoption rate is high and that they're using what you're giving them?
It's rare that I come across an advisor that is resistant. More often than not, advisors are just asking for help. How do I integrate these tools? What's the right model office of the future? Which podcast do I need to be listening to? Those are the questions I get from advisors much more often than absolute resistance. The way we address that, and I think it's actually one of the deep competitive advantages of Cetera, is the deep human touch that we have with our advisors. So we have regionalized teams that go out across the various channels, understand the advisor practices, their aspirations, engage in a business planning discussion with them. And then, based on those aspirations, what the practice wants to do, back into what are the right processes? What are the right technologies? How do we create that optimal stack for that advisor to achieve his or her aspiration? It's that deep conversation, that deep understanding of the advisor practice that's really going to help us drive that adoption and change management to realize the full benefit of the tools.
Yeah, two things you said jumped out at me. One was, deep deep understanding of the advisor process, but also paved roads. So you're building easy buttons, paved roads, building ways to make it a no-brainer for the advisor to access these tools and technologies as part of their existing processes. So that leads me to my next question about processes. One of the things we find with a lot of firms we work with is they think, well, we bought the technology, we're done. Let's make it work, right? But there's got to be a process behind that that integrates that technology, and people have to be trained on how to use it. How does Cetera build those processes and get their advisors to understand them and push those repeatable playbooks out to the advisors?
Two aspects of that, both of which I've alluded to. The first is, again, deeply understanding what an advisor wants to accomplish. What are their hopes and dreams? One of my favorite questions to ask advisors when I'm out meeting with them is, what are you excited about? What does your firm look like in 5 years? Once you have that North Star, then you can start building backwards. What's the right technology? What are the right processes? I, I love technology. I play around with it all the time. But if, as we think about an advisor's practice, technology is not an end in and of itself. It's there to solve something, to make them more efficient or help them drive their clients. So I think having that North Star of what an advisor is trying to accomplish makes the discussion about process and technology much more clear. So that's the first thing I would say. The second comes back to these regional teams that understand these advisor practices. In an ironic twist of fate, it's really that human touch that helps advisors implement the deep technology of the future.
That perfectly leads me into my next question, talking about the human touch. So balancing human and AI. I'm a technology person. I run a technology consulting firm. I have a degree in computer science, so I'm all in on technology, but not everyone is, and we want a balance. So with AI seems to be taking over, and more people are talking to AI, confessing their thoughts and dreams to AI, and asking AI for advice. But how do you balance the people-based engagement model and AI-driven insights for human advisors to still do their jobs?
I think the AI is going to deeply enhance the human connection. We're seeing it today, and I think it's going to become even more so in the future. The world is just going to be awash in AI generated everything, slop, images, content, audio, media, etc. And in it, we see it today, and ever more so in the future. Human touch is going to be so important. That curated, grass-fed, artisanal human conversation. And as we look at the technologies that we're implementing today, and I might cite Jump as an example, it's really about taking some of the more administrative note-taking tasks off the shoulders of the advisor so he or she can focus on that client, really deeply engage, listen, modify behavior, do those things that advisors are uniquely positioned to do. So I am a big believer that all of this technology is actually going to further unleash the human connection that is such a big part of our industry today.
You used a word I haven't heard you use before, artisanal. Right. I feel like there's going to be a time very soon where everything is just shifted to AI, and people are going to, whatever jobs they're in, pitch their services as human powered. Right. We're,
Right.
we're, we're real humans here. Right. But we've seen a little bit of that, but it's going to become way more part of marketing because there will be a group of people who don't want to talk to AI, even though it's available 24/7. It's empathetic. It knows everything about you. It's highly intelligent, but they know the difference between an AI and a human. And you mentioned you said the word slop. And I was talking to someone last week. There's a term going around called work slop, an AI slop, which is just when you get a document from someone and it's just they just typed the one sentence into AI and dumped it out and handed it to you. They didn't review it, they didn't look at it, and you can tell right away it's just junk.
My daughter wants to have Instagram, and she's a little younger, and my wife and I are a little bit conscious of unfettered access to social media. So I told her, I said, hey, well, do some research. You write a memo, a proposal to me about your usage of Instagram. So she did that, and I read it, and it was immediately evident it was just AI slop. She had not put forth any effort whatsoever. She had just simply prompted Chat GPT. So it's a harbinger of the world that we are headed towards. But again, it brings me back to the importance of real human interaction, thought, intimacy. That is largely, I think, the future of our industry, augmented by all the tools that we're talking about.
I don't want to forget about this AI everywhere and the work slop. I'm going to tie it back into the marketing slop we're seeing, but I want to talk about marketing and client engagement a bit first. And congratulations to Satara. You earned a BISA award for GrowthLine, and congratulations on that. And so GrowthLine, I'm sure ties in somehow into the intelligence engine. Can you explain how that works? And do you see these two platforms converging into one single architecture for advisors?
So GrowthLine is a service where we help advisors really improve their digital footprint, the way they're showing up on the web, their content, their outreach to clients. Really very, very important, table stakes even. Yet we find as we implement GrowthLine, there's often room for improvement. We can really help advisors enhance the way they're showing up in various digital platforms. In terms of that integrating, it absolutely does integrate. If you think about GrowthLine, starts with engaging with clients, then driving a deep planning experience with them, and then implementation. Awareness, that first contact, that a client in researching an advisor and perhaps landing on that advisor's website is the first part of that. So it is absolutely the front door of the journey that intelligence engine then drives.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously now every advisor has a website, but they all kind of look the same. And clients see that, and it makes it hard to them to understand which one do I pick because they all look exactly alike. They've all got an anchor and a lighthouse and two old people walking on the beach. But I think if you can come up with some methodology for differentiating each different advisor categories or different advisor niches, that would be able to drive more client engagement.
That's a big part of GrowthLine is to allow advisors to bring forth their uniqueness in terms of their digital presence, as opposed to it just being a
Mm.
paint by colors,
Yeah.
looks like every other advisor
Mm.
website.
Does it also extend into the portal that each portal will be slightly different based on the advisor?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the AdviceWorks portal, AdviceWorks being our digital platform, the client facing piece of that is personalized by practice. So again, it drives this consistency of experience, this integration across the entire client advisor journey.
Let me throw out one question to that we did not discuss in advance, but I wanted to talk about my pet peeve around portals, and is that we don't think about portals the way that other industries do. If you told an advisor, hey, your client logged into the portal 10 times last week, most advisors would say, what's wrong? I got to call him. There's a problem. No other industry does that. If the more client engagement, the better. With us, the more client engagement, there's got to be a problem. Do you see an evolution? Will Cetera build more into the portal, more education, more interaction that would draw clients to come to it, not just when they have a problem?
Absolutely. I fully agree with you. More engagement is better. We find that one of the biggest drivers of client satisfaction is just more engagement with their advisor or with or the portal or the platform. So I'm a huge proponent of that. Enriching the content, the interactions, the modules on the portals, absolutely critical, because as clients have questions, as they want to research them, we want them coming to us as opposed to anywhere else that they might go, particularly when there's so much misinformation out there. And so our forward roadmap does contemplate deep enrichment, deepening of the engagement that's possible through our portal.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So staying on the marketing and client engagement segment, the let's talk about personalization at scale. Personalization, hyper personalization is a buzzword I hate. I hear it thrown around a lot. I don't think it has any meaning anymore. But does Intelligent Engine, I understand it has some marketing capabilities in it. So is there a couple questions? Is there any third-party technology underneath that's driving the marketing campaigns? And how do you help advisors move beyond generic campaigns to personalize their engagement with these prospects and clients?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of third-party technology. So as I mentioned earlier, we leverage a very rich ecosystem, whether it's lead generation or the various planning tools or mechanisms to drive income in retirement. Intelligence Engine uses proprietary technology that we've created, but also very, very thoughtfully knits together some of the best in breed capabilities out there. Into personalization, that is such a fraught term. We could probably do an entire podcast on the ins and outs, the
Oh yeah,
broken
definitely.
promises of personalization.
Hyper
There,
personalization.
hyper personalization. There is personalization in there. My take is I don't think financial services in general has done very well with personalization. Lots of rhetoric. I don't think there's been a lot of proof point out there. As I think about the personalization capacity of Intelligence Engine, it comes back to something that I referenced earlier. By freeing the advisor from a lot of the administrative tasks, he or she can provide that in-person personalization. That is their secret sauce. That is what actually modifies client behavior and produces better client outcomes. So, in the first instance, I think that is the manifestation of personalization in Intelligence Engine is advisors have more time to devote to that. It, as we think about the eventual application of true hyper personalization, I think we're still ways off as an industry, and data infrastructure needs to be improved, more experimentation, more learning. It will come, but I think we're further from that than certain pundits would have us believe.
Okay, well, we'll check on that. Let's see how fast it happens.
Okay.
I think it's going to happen faster than we expect.
Okay.
I just see it moving so quickly. I mean, we get a lot of demos of products, and everything is just morphing into what I would call a derogatory, what could be called in a beneficial aspect is the AI, desktop, the advisor desktop, all-in-one platform, or what I'm calling is the AI blob. That we're getting this
Yeah.
blob that all these AI startups are building CRMs, financial planning, portfolio management, risk tolerance, reporting, all in one solution because they can because it's so easy just to tell the coding to build this stuff out. So we're seeing a lot more of that, but I don't see them as really having a lot of benefit because it's so one off and they don't have the experience of decades with advisors. We know how advisors operate. So that the underlying technology you're using, I know what that is. That's being built over 20 plus years of advisor input. So it's incorporating the technology incorporates the best practices from the last 20 years.
That's right. That's right. Honestly, as with many things in life, I think the challenge that lies ahead of us is more about change management than technology. The tech is there. Like the power of AI, even if you go back a few generations in terms of the large language models, it's there. It's really more of a question of how do we productize it, and then how do you effectively drive the change management such that people harness the power that's latent.
Yeah, indeed. And you guys have you chosen Jump, and we did a review just in April of all the top AI note taker slash assistants, and I see them all morphing way beyond assistants. I saw this in April, and we're doing another review now because it's just moving so quickly, and they're all morphing into more of data aggregation tools because they're already pulling in all the meetings, all the notes, all your Outlook emails, they're plugging into Ring Central and pulling all your phone calls. They want to plug into Box and Dropbox and SharePoint and pull your documents. So they're really going to have all the information inside that note taker. And now they're doing all kinds of interesting stuff with it. Do you see that changing a bit how the Cetera architecture of intelligent engine might operate?
Yeah, absolutely. So the space is going to move quickly. And the way we think about it, or the way I think about it philosophically, is we need to jump in. 10 years ago, as we were thinking about new pieces of software, we may have adopted more of a best in breed approach and really do extensive due diligence. I think if you apply that same mindset, you're going to be way too slow. The technology will have gone through several generations. So there's an element of good enough and jump in and try things out. I also believe that the technology is going to turn over. There are going to be new providers. There's going to be a new Jump or a new Zox in 18 months, and we have to have the agility to identify those new properties and effectively incorporate them into Intelligence Engine. And then the last thing I would cite, and I feel pretty strongly about this, as we think about advisor adoption of AI, as executives at Cetera think about the future of Intelligence Engine, it's incumbent upon us to be using these tools ourselves as executives, playing around with them, understanding the great power as well as the limitations, and thereby developing the intuition as to how they work and where this may be going strategically. So I think as we apply all of those various viewpoints, it will guide us as to the future of Intelligence Engine and the application of AI more broadly across the enterprise.
Christian, there's a consulting term we call that eating your own dog food.
That's right. If you're an executive that is not using AI tools regularly throughout your day, you're behind.
Indeed. And we got only time for a couple more questions. So you mentioned that being ready for the next AI tool that comes out that's going to replace what you have now. So that comes into future proofing. And so besides bringing in new tools, what other areas you see be able to future proof intelligent engine so that it doesn't become obsolete itself in 2 years?
One of the things that I spend a lot of my discretionary time on is engaging with the startup community, talking to new companies, new players, new functionality, just so I can keep my finger on the pulse of where things are going. It's similar, and it manifests in a similar vein to what I was saying earlier about using the tools. You engage with the startup community, you understand how those founders are thinking, and you develop better intuition around where this is going and what's the promise and what are the limitations. And as you regularly engage in that, and again, devoting a meaningful amount of time, it puts you in more of a mindset where you can future proof. No one's got perfect foresight, but you're certainly sharpening those skills if you're engaging with the folks that are creating the future.
Engaging with the folks that are creating the future. The future is here. It's just not equally distributed. So finally, the last question. What metrics will you look at in the next 12 to 18 months to judge whether Intelligent Engine is even delivering on its promises to drive advisor growth?
I think about it across three dimensions. The first, are our clients better off financially as measured by penetration of financial planning? ultimately, we're here to serve our clients. I think that has to be one of the top node metrics that we look at. Secondly, are our advisors growing organically, same source sales? And then lastly, from an enterprise perspective, is this driving bottom line impact? Is EBITDA increasing based on this? And that last one, I might just emphasize, there's so many interesting tools that we can launch, so many shiny objects. And there's certainly something to be said around launching these and learning and experimenting. But ultimately, we have to have an eye towards the bottom line impact, really driving financial outcomes for the enterprises that we lead.
I was at a conference and someone was talking about a PE, a very well-off PE person who got a boat and they named it Excess EBITDA.
I like it.
Yes, those sound like great targets. And I always like to hear what the metrics are for different broker deals we work with, because I think it's important to understand how they're measuring success of the technology, because that's as a consulting firm, the technology isn't an end to itself. The point of technology is to make clients' lives better, make advisors work better, grow the company. Really, that's if you're not technology isn't doing that for you, and you don't know if it's doing it for you, then what are you doing with it? Why are you spending the money?
That's well said. We can pick whatever metric we want, but at the end of the day, there are really three outcomes, as you noted. Our clients need to be better off. We exist in a noble industry, and we can never lose sight of that. Secondly, we need to make sure our advisors are leading vital growing enterprises. And then lastly, we need to make sure that this is driving profitable growth. Not only is that good for our shareholders, but then it allows us to reinvest in these technologies and keep the flywheel of goodness turning.
The flywheel of goodness. I'm going to take a lot of these things from you, Christian. I'm going to steal a bunch of them. You're full of great terms, of great phrases. It's been a pleasure talking to you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Where can people find more information about Cetera Solutions?
Cetera.com. There you'll see the inventory of all of the solutions that we have today. And I might say stay tuned because we'll be adding some new solutions to the set in the months to come.
Stay tuned. Same bat channel, same bat time. Thanks, Christian. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Craig again. Here are my top 3 takeaways from this episode. All right. Number 1, Cetera is focused on creating what Christian referred to as paved roads, deep integrations between their core digital tools that can drive advisor productivity and provide high-quality holistic advice to clients. Number 2, Cetera believes the human connection will become even more important as AI becomes more prevalent, allowing advisors to focus on the artisanal aspects of client relationships. I love that term, the artisanal aspects. Number 3, Cetera will measure the success of their intelligent engine based on 3 metrics. Number 1, improving client financial outcomes. 2, driving organic advisor growth. And finally, increasing the firm's overall profitability. All right, that's it. You've reached the end of another episode of WealthTech Today podcast. Thanks for listening. But before you go, please head over to our website, EzraGroup.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you'll receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and updates. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.